The Eachine Novice III. Now, this product, or this grouping of products, at first glance, seems like you're getting a really, really great value for your money, and that's what I thought when I took it out of the box, and I looked at all the parts, I'm like, this is actually not bad. So the video I'm coming out with tomorrow explains why some Chinese companies are the way they are and how they make products and how they're able to get things out the door so cheap and so easily and in such huge volumes. And I've said in the past that Eachine is probably the one company that if I could control any company in China in this industry, I would want to control. And that's because they can produce things so quickly and get products out the door so fast and with such volume, it's mind-blowing. And if I could control them to produce good things rather than things that are sort of wonky, it would be incredible. Now, over this time period of the COVID-19 virus, and I mean, really feel for China, feel for all they've done. But let's talk about this particular quad, because what I'm going to be talking about in the video tomorrow, Eachine falls squarely into that category. And they're really only in this industry because it's a popular industry. They can move volume, and there's already marketing behind the industry that they don't actually need to do. So let's first start talking about the actual quad itself. So when I took a close look at the quad, I was actually pretty impressed. I thought they had done a pretty good job putting the quad together. Until I took a little bit closer look, there's some things that I'm not really pleased with, but it seemed like it was all good the first time I took a close look at it. So it's 108 grams with a 3S 450 milliamp battery, which is really impressive for a quad that has so much frame to it, really. And it also has a DVR built in as well. And so I'll just start with the motors. So these are Eachine 1203 5500 kV motors. These are really the Happy Model motors. They're not really Eachine branded specifically, or wherever they're getting them from. They're both getting them from the same place. And I personally would say that these motors are better suited for 2.5 inch props. I think they're perfect for 2.5 inch props, actually. And this particular, wherever this motor is coming from, Happy Model, Eachine, whoever, is their motor sizes and KVs are actually, at least it seems when you use them, their performance is about a step lower than what their numbers seem to suggest. And so this, as a 1203 motor, in my eyes, it's more like it's closer to an 1103 or an 1104 than an actual 1203. And this has just come from experience of using a lot of these things. Now, it's not a bad motor. It's totally suitable for this particular kind of quad. It's not a high quality motor. I would not say in any regards that it's a really good motor that's going to hold up, but it's not a bad motor. And I do think it's most suited to 2.5 inch. On this 3 inch prop, it does also perform fine, except for the fact that when you do push the throttle up, it kind of goes crazy on you and takes off on you. So I don't know what the KV on this thing actually is, but whatever the setup is on this quad, it's very, very uncontrollable. And I would say it's probably as a result of the motors. I think if they just switch the motors out to a 1303 or a 1400 whatever, and reduce the KV even a little bit, I think it would be much more controllable. And flying this quad, you could tell that I'm like really touchy on the quad. And I even tried putting a throttle curve on it. I just couldn't get it to actually perform as nicely as I would like it to perform. Now, the camera on it is the Caddx EOS who knows what. I'm not a huge fan of the particular EOS lineup of Caddx products. Enough I'll say about that. It does have the DVR built into the VTX itself, which the VTX does seem to perform perfectly fine, and the DVR does also seem to perform perfectly fine. Now, they've built their own little toothpick-esque all-in-one board on the bottom there, which again seems to perform really, really totally fine. And then you have the entire frame. Now, the frame is actually really interesting because this top plate actually has a row of LEDs underneath the top plate, and I've just taped down my antennas so they're just all hanging around about. But they have a row of LEDs underneath that kind of goes back and forth. I can't show it to you in this bright daylight, but here, actually I'll try to plug it in and show it to you. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I've seen other quads, oh there, you can see it. I've seen other crafts do that as well, and it's just really a neat touch. Other than that, the lower plate, the single body plate, is a 3mm plate, but you can see that the carbon arms were not really cut in the appropriate direction. So if you grab it in your hand and you flex it, it's a very, very flimsy frame. That doesn't mean that it's going to break on you. I mean, you probably could break an arm if you smack something at full speed, but it's 3mm carbon still. So the only real gripe is that it could have been 2 millimeters and cut properly, and you would have just saved a couple grams of weight. All in all, the quad setup is totally fine. And as I explained, the only real issue with the quad is that it is just not controllable. It's just grossly out of control. And there's lots of vibrations. I did change props, couldn't get the vibrations out. I would say that it's probably due to the motors. And so the quad is kind of like a meh. It's a straight meh rating from me. Now, moving to the controller, I took this controller out of the box and I held it in my hand and I was like, this is not bad. And of course we can say that this was heavily inspired by the Tango, the original Tango. Very heavily inspired by the original Tango. And one thing I would say that is exceptionally amazing about this controller, actually, there's a lot of things that are exceptionally amazing about this controller. First of all, the grip is really nice, and it fits pinching really nicely as well. And look at this. It's an on-off switch. Just wait for it to turn on. No, look how I turned it off. Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. I could just walk away. I don't have to hold any buttons. I don't know why there's so many controllers out there that have this hold buttons to turn them on and off. And the gimbals. These are actually full-size gimbals. I measured these things to be the same throw as not quite full size. They're the same travel as my X9 Lite, which is about 1 millimeter less travel than a full-size gimbal on something like the QX7. And this is also running, as you saw, it's running OpenTX. Now, it's a very, very funny version of OpenTX. I actually could not figure out how to bind this thing to anything else other than the quad that it already came bound to. None of these buttons make any sense at all. Like, you hold the menu button and the up and down is okay, and I figured out that R means, oh no, I thought R meant go to the next, L? No. Up. How do I get, oh, hold on, never mind. I have to go back and I have to hold R. Okay, now I'm in the menu and now I can flip pages. But when you go to this page to bind, there's no bind function on here. And it says I'm at a total loss. I don't know what they did with the software on here, the firmware on here, to screw it up so much. Now, I was really impressed with the full throw gimbals, the fact that the gimbals didn't feel absolutely awful, and the on-off switch and the whole fit and finish and feel of the controller. It's not great, but it fits my hands, and I'm like, hey, it does D8, so maybe I could use it for all my whoops and whatnot. So I took the thing apart, and I found that on the inside, it is the cheapest build quality I've ever seen of any controller I've ever taken apart. Like, cheaper than anything in the far, far past. And I wasn't really pleased with it, but hey, if it kept working and I could use it for whoops, why not? It's not a bad option to use for whoops if it worked, if I could actually get it to work. And so, taking a look at the battery compartment bay, the whole setup comes with 2 of these 3S 450 milliamp batteries, and that fits really nicely in the back of the battery bay as well, which, I mean, somehow they like stumbled across something that was kind of almost there, and they just didn't care to finish it because they have no interest in making sure their products work well. And another thing to note, I could not get these switches to actually function on the quad itself. Even though Betaflight is showing me that this switch is arming and disarming, as soon as I turn on the controller, the quad arms. And there's no way to disarm it. I have to turn off the controller to get the quad to disarm. So that's how I flew it. And I spent about 12 minutes trying to figure that out, and I just could not. Now, moving to the charger, this is also another very interesting point. So a while ago, I actually approached a couple of, you can see my little screen, I didn't even do this. I literally just brought it outside, and this thing happened to fall off on the way out. So you can see like how real chintzy some of this stuff is. But so I approached a couple companies about a charger that I wanted to make like over a year and a half ago. And this charger meets most of those specifics that I personally wanted to make myself. Now, this isn't new and original, but the way this charger works is that you plug it in the wall, plugs into the side here, and then it's got these ports here. You just plug the battery in, and that's it. It charges. Nothing else. You don't have to do anything else. You just plug it in and it charges. And it actually charges pretty quickly too. I think it's charging actually probably around 2.5C off this thing. It says that it's charging at 1,000 milliamps. I would say it's probably a little bit higher than 1,000 milliamps actual charge rate, and it's actually not bad. It's pretty accurate. Now, I don't know if I would trust it very much, but hey, it works, and I would say if you are going to get this thing, be very cautious about using this, because charging your batteries is probably the single most dangerous thing about this hobby and about this industry, and you really want to spend just a teensy bit of money, or at least buy a charger that is well known to be working very well. This one, while it's probably not going to cause any problems, it's really not worth the risk of it potentially causing problems and burning down your house, because that has happened to many people in this industry. Now, moving on to the goggles, this is probably the best item out of the whole thing. This is actually a well-known product, and it's a product that Eachine has made and has sold several tens of thousands, of probably over 100,000 of the, over 100,000 of this particular product. And I actually have only one real complaint about this product, and that's the battery. The battery life on this thing is not very good. Other than that, there are some things that could have obviously been better. I mean, the charge, it's just so wonky. I don't know why that port is even there. It's got a headphone port, which is great. I thought it had oh no, it doesn't. It comes with a wire that goes from here to the USB port on any charger to charge, and it's just, I don't know why they didn't just put the USB port directly on here. I don't know why it doesn't have a battery in port anywhere on this thing. And so if you are going to get this thing, I would just straight take it apart and add yourself an XT30, an XT60 connector, and just use your own external battery. Other than that, the reception on it is good enough. I wouldn't say it's great. It definitely doesn't rival any of these more recent modules that stick in your goggles, but it's not bad. It's totally usable. This particular antenna is total trash. Don't use this antenna. Just buy a decent antenna. And the screen on it is actually not bad. It is a wide screen, but I don't really have a problem with running widescreen with a 4.3 camera. And you can also take it apart and use it as a standalone monitor, which is probably the best thing about this goggle, is that even when you're done using it and you've kind of moved on in your progression in the industry, you can still use this thing if it's working at that point. And yeah, that's the whole product. So thanks so much for watching all this, and floss your teeth. Thanks very much. Bye.